found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Here's a tip, Basilio. Start your show on time. All right? I'll take that tip. I will take that one. On a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to my man Brian Hartman, who's on assignment today. Personal day for Bri. Bino Jeff Henderson in the house today. Bino Jeff, welcome in.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Great day to be alive. Hey, brother, I'm fired up today because you and I got a lot to talk about today. And Bino wrote a little short blurb today over at tclub.team, which will inform our discussion a little later on in the hour. Today on the program, coming up for you, hour number one, our weekly visit with Mike Huguenin as the world turns, with regards to some of the goings-on around the SEC this week, the early fallout from the House settlement, which is 1 week old, and how we're going to proceed here. And then later on in the hour, we're going to be joined by Dave Pritchard from Bearden High School, and we're going to talk with Dave Pritchard about Brady Frederick. Bino, Tennessee, choosing to get a kid that doesn't have the knockout velo that some of these other guys do, and I find that pretty interesting, Beanstar.
I like it, Tony. I think it's good to go away from that some, especially in the SEC, where you see power arm after power arm after power arm.
We've had kind of a baseball celebration this week, and why not? The Tony Vitello piece from a couple days ago was quite interesting. I thought yesterday's piece, when we had the head coach of Walter State on, who's been legendary there for a few decades, along with a guy that worked for him there who's going to take the field here shortly with Murray State. I don't know if you heard that yesterday, Bino, but there's something really inviting about these veteran baseball guys and these baseball lifers, and there's just something about it.
Yeah, it's always a fun discussion or a fun listen when you've got guys like that on. Tony and I just thought it said so much about Murray State's head coach when you invited him on, that what he wanted to do was bring on and shed the light at his highest point. He wants to bring on and shed the light on his mentor. I think that tells you all you need to know about him.
Yeah, and I was talking to David Shelton off the air about that, and I said, this was the condition. I said, quite frankly, we should be having you on to celebrate you. And he goes, I understand that. He said, but let me tell you something about Dan Skirka. He goes, that's exactly who he is. He said, that's exactly who he is. I said, Coach, he loves you. I said, he said, I'll come on, but we're going to celebrate him too. Bino, there aren't many people. And again, Dan Skirka has a lot of friends here in Knoxville. Hear the show. Hey, I'm going to be on there. He was familiar with us, obviously. He said, but I want to really thank a guy on the air that was responsible for where I'm at, who gave me an opportunity. And I thought, that's pretty cool. At the end of the day, Brian Hartman's had unbelievable couple weeks on here. He has been smoking hot. So we're going to stay hot today. We got a hot program for you. Bino Jeff, a little later on in the hour, we're going to get into, because Adam Sparks, when he's not out there doing Pulitzer Prize reporting, which he and Mike Wilson are currently in the process of doing, this thing with this Furkran guy, is going to turn into a documentary somewhere, quite frankly. A lot of people had no idea what we were talking about yesterday when I mentioned it, but as Bruno Mars once said, "Don't believe me, just watch," because this is getting ready to. Well, it's already kind of a mess, but uh, who didn't he fool on the scene? Well, he didn't fool me, but who didn't he fool? Who didn't he fool? It's an incredible story. So today on the program, Hughie's going to join. I want to talk to him about the early outset of this thing. One of the things that Orange Throat talked about this morning, Bino, is that these teams are going to try and force these coaches under this new agreement to stay within these budgets. You think Tony Vitello is going to stay at $750,000, Bino, when he was well over $1 million last year? You think he's going to stop recruiting because his AD tells him to stop recruiting?
I I would be very surprised if that happens, Tom.
And I would dare say he's the one coach on your campus capable right now of winning a national championship.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart that is. I would let him go and go get some players. That's a fun sport here that matters to a lot of people. Has a lot of engagement around that program. I know it's not football. Nobody's going to pretend it's football. And I'm not saying do that. But that figure seems, in SEC baseball, that seems like a rather small figure. Like the Fisher kid himself was about $100,000. I do know that. So just to give it a little bit of perspective. But that's just me. So Hughie's going to join, and then we're going to get the lowdown on Brady Frederick. And then we're going to get into this conversation about Josh Heupel and how we feel about him. And that's obviously a thing, and there's obviously some division there, Bino, which led Adam Sparks to write what I thought was a really thoughtful piece there earlier in the week.
I thought it was a great piece, Tony. I thought he did a fantastic job of laying out kind of both mindsets and showing where there is some where you could you could find some truth in both sides. And he entitled it "UT Fans Critical Despite Heupel's Wild Success," and I just thought it was great. And he didn't take a side; he just laid out basically the two mindsets, and I thought he did a fantastic job with it. And you and I have kind of had this discussion, but we've had it with me being more defensive than I intend to be today. But I do want us to talk about our varying views on that very topic.
We're going to continue. The great Mike Huguenin joins on the other side. I'm going to get into Hughie about the onset of this era we're now in and the implications of it. And then I want to talk to him about, I don't know if you've noticed this, Bino, but college basketball is going to do some smart things. And I think they're going to jump in and go to the quarter system. They're doing away with the 1-and-1. They're doing away with teams are not going to be in the penalty as much. They're going to take the foul shooting contest aspect out of their game. And they're taking reviews out of their game. Each coach gets one per game. And if you blow your review, you're done. So if you take your review the first 5 minutes of the game and you don't get it, you're done. We're not going to go to. And then what they've also done is coaches are not allowed with inside 2 minutes. Referees are no longer allowed to use replay as a crutch inside 2 minutes. We're going to stop the game and watch somebody go shake their rear end over at the monitor. That's done. All that FaceTime for these officials, nobody pays. And to my referees, listen to you. I love you. I support you. I'm not against you. I'm for you. But nobody in this damn earth wants to look at you besides your family. Okay? When you're on television. I think it's great, what they're doing.
On the surface, Tony, I like everything about it. Like everything about it. I just think it makes the game flow better, and I think it'll stop that. The quarter system will stop that endless parade to the free throw line late in games.
It's mindless. College basketball, it's mindless watching that, and then all the replays compared to the NBA game, where the NBA game, they play a game, starts here, ends here. I don't watch referees look at monitors for 20 minutes at a time. We'll take a brief timeout, come back with more. Mike Huguenin joins on the other side, and then we'll get the lowdown on a guy Tennessee just hired, on a kid Tennessee just acquired from East Tennessee State, Brady Frederick. Dave Pritchard joins, and then we break it down on Josh Heupel. I want to encourage you to go over to tclub.team today. I want to encourage you to like and subscribe our channel over at YouTube. And you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff from us at YouTube. We got big plans as we continue with more on the other side after this.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range, and if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery, so you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Tony B. back with you on your TLD Logistics phone line. Our guest line now joining us, our Friday date, along with my man Bino Jeff Henderson, who's been such a blessing. It's a great, great time of the year. Look, this house case that just happened, we all have to kind of settle in and get used to it for now. It's the law of these sports. It's not going to stay. We know that because it's not going to hold up in court. But until it's challenged, everybody's kind of playing nice with each other, and they will. And Hughie, here's a prediction for you because I want your thoughts on this thing. They're going to play nice with each other until something goes before this clearinghouse deal and one of these five-star guys gets denied, and that's when the gloves are going to come off. That's my prediction. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. There's so much out there that hasn't been decided, and that's just one of the things that's out there that has not been decided. But the idea that everybody's going to be singing "Kumbaya" and stuff, no, that's not happening.
And we had and Bino, Jeff, I want to jump you in here because I'm going to let Bino, Jeff take it here. We had a flashpoint ruling. The great Marcos Garza, who is a tremendous advertiser on this show and a great philanthropist here in our local area, shares with people, great guy over at the Garza Law, fighting for Zakai Ziegler's fifth year, a fight they say that they're going to continue because in their minds the judge did not get it right. But Bino, Jeff, I want you to jump in here as part of this discussion with the great Mike Hugan, and go ahead, Beanstar.
Mike, bear with me here. I'm gonna set this up, and it's gonna take a few words. I've always been one that looked at and hoped that everyone would be allowed 5 years of eligibility. My reasoning down through the years has always been that there's so much demand on these athletes' time that those who truly wanted to get a degree, there's no way in the world they could get one in just 4 years. It was going to take at least 5. So I thought that they should be allowed eligibility through that period while they were trying to get a degree. I've kind of changed directions here because of my fear that 5 becomes 6, 6 becomes 7. And I personally, I love Zakai Ziegler. I'd like to watch him another year. But I'm afraid of the college game becoming a game of 6 and 7 year players at the expense of high school players.
I think, yeah, I'm still a believer in 5 years of eligibility. I think that for the most part, if you are a future pro, you're not staying 5 years. The kind of kid who stays 5 years, I think most of them are interested in getting a degree, and it would alleviate pressure on a lot of the freshmen. Yes, a lot of freshmen are ready to play. There's also a lot that aren't ready to play. And I think if you want to cut down a little bit on, I think having 5 years of eligibility actually would decrease a bit the number of kids who go into the portal. Because if you tell a kid, there's a lot of, I've been doing this for a while. You guys have been around college athletics for a while. There are a lot of reasonable athletes who realize once they get to college and see who they're playing against and playing with, I'm not going to be a pro. And if a coach can sit down when a kid just gets to campus or a month into it and says, you're probably going to have to redshirt this year to develop, but we believe in you, all that kind of stuff, I think a lot of players would say fine. I think a lot of players transfer because I have to play now or else all my dreams are gone. But I think if you tell a kid, we're going to redshirt you or play you a little bit, but you're still on our future plans, all that kind of stuff, I think it would actually cut down a little bit on the transfer aspect. I see your point, though, about the slippery slope thing. Well, you gave us 5 years. Why didn't you give us 6? You gave us 6. Why don't you give us 7? I think that there are ways around that. I think that the Ziegler situation yesterday, what the judge ruled, I think maybe the 5, that could hold up in court. But and I'm sure that there's other athletes out there who want that 5th year. So I don't think this necessarily what happened yesterday was Zakai Ziegler necessarily is going to stop anybody from wanting that fifth year or suing for that fifth year. So there's a lot. Again, the House settlement. It seemed to me as if a lot of folks thought, okay, everything's fine now. No, it's not. So there was a lawsuit filed. I think it was Monday or maybe it was Tuesday about Title IX. About
that's
back
right.
pay.
That's right.
So it's going to be this is an incredible era of college athletics for no, and the fact that legitimately could go to law school now, and be busy for the rest of your life.
Well, and Bino, to your point, I feel you, because I think one of the NCAA's great fears, Bino, is not that fifth year. I think if they open it up, the next step is going to be, it's kind of like the old adage about a dog in a chain and really humanity. If you take a dog and put a dog on a chain, what do? The first thing they do is they burn a track right at the end of that chain. You always know how long the train stretches by how far that track goes out, which is what we do. You say, okay, well, you can't go over there. First thing I want to do is go way over there. You can't go over there. So I want my fifth year, and you're right, Bino. Then I want my sixth year. Then I want my bounce back year. And so I do see that side of the argument. However, I just don't know how you can choose. And this is just me, my opinion on that Ziegler thing and this judge's ruling. I just don't see how you can say to other students, yeah, you can go 5 years, and by the way, you can get a fellowship on the campus as a grad student and get paid for it. It's what happens every day. Every college campus in America does that with grad students, every single one of them. And then you look at an athlete and say, but you can't do that, because we've decided that arbitrarily you have 5 to play 4 basically, and once you play your 4, you're done. Hughie, that just long term, there's no way, like that judge in New Jersey said. I just think the one here was afraid to upset the apple cart, because I do think Ziegler's counsel did a wonderful job of framing this thing the way they framed it. I think it's interesting, too, that a lot of the sports media, Hughie, and you speak to this, you've been on the scene for a long time, kind of agrees with Bino. They're very NCAA-oriented. A lot of the sports media that covers the NCAA, almost in a Stepford sort of way, in a naive sort of way, Hughie. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, I think the media has become far more cynical with college athletics over the last, frankly, 30 years, maybe starting in the late 80s. I think there was some cynicism before that, but I think it's become very cynical now. The NCAA has no power, and I think everybody agrees with that. And it's taken a long time to get to this point, but I think that's true now. The NCAA has no power. That's why I question how effective this new commission is going to be, because they all signing up for this. We're all signing pledges that we're not going to we're not going to have we're going to follow the commission's rules. We're not going to follow state laws. Well, being part of the NCAA, it's the exact same thing. It's an organization that was put together for the benefit of the schools, and yet every single school, it's like joining a country club. And yeah, I'll follow the rules. What do you mean I can't smoke a cigar in the dining room? I'm smoking a cigar. What are you going to do about it? So that's obviously a little bit hyperbolic, but I think that is the case. And the sports the new commission thing, there's going to be infighting within a year. I also think there's some kind of stud athlete now who's in 6th grade who, when he gets to college in 6 years, is going to say, I'm not following these rules. If I want to make $6 million a year with NIL, I'm not telling you one thing about it. So leave me alone. If you want me to play for you, you have to back me, and there'll be a school that will back me. So it's until athletes are made employees, there's not going to be any peace in college athletics. And then when they become employees, that adds a whole different element.
Which is exactly the argument that Danny White's made publicly. He's one of the few ADs that's actually come out and said, until we do this and get to that point, we're fooling ourselves here, which is what's going on right now. Bino, but Bino does bring up a good point in that there is kind of a line there, like a 5-year, like I wouldn't want to see 6, 7, 8-year guys. And I'm not so sure, Bino, unless you collective bargain, that these are the years you're allowed to do this. I'm not so sure that's not how it's going to end up anyway, because all it's going to take is one judge. That's all it's going to take. Like that judge in New Jersey, Bino, kind of threatened. But, Bino, let me ask you something. You and I both read mob literature and follow kind of the mafia stuff, and one day we're going to go to New York and take the mob tour and go up there and have maybe surf and turf at the Ravenite Diner. Bino, do the word commission, that they call this thing a commission, isn't that kind of ironic in that you've got the 4 mob fathers that are over the 4 main leagues that are the cartels controlling this thing right now? And just the use of the word commission, Bino, have you thought about that?
I have not thought about that, Tony, but that's a great thought, because it's a commission, and yet they're all for one and all really against the other. So it's that's probably what we're going to see. And I don't know what the answer is, but somehow, some way, we do have to somehow especially restrict just the constant movement of these players. You cannot have annual wide open free agency. You can't do it.
No, and Hughie, that's one thing they haven't been able to address, and they'll never address until they get this thing under control, right?
The commission, basically the commission's talking about, a lot of the stuff they're worried about is NIL. The transfer portal is something totally, unfortunately for a lot of college administrators, totally separate, because if it is, I'll be honest, it's unseemly, the roster turnover on an annual basis. At the same time, I get where the players are coming from. I'm not going to play pro ball, but if I can make an extra $50,000 at school A rather than school B, I'm moving to school A. In the free agency aspect, that's the unseemliness of it. And that's, I think, the only way to stop transfer portal shenanigans and all that kind of stuff is if the student athletes are made school employees, because then you have contracts. The school can allow you to get out of your contract if they don't care if you transfer. But if they want you, you ain't going anywhere. Now, they're also going to be paying you, so I think that'll obviate some of the issues. But the transfer portal, I think deep down inside, every college fan, the players are getting paid. Okay, fine. I don't like the fact that they move schools every single season. I've yet to talk to anybody who says college athletes don't deserve to get paid. I do talk to a lot of people who say, I don't even know if this guy's on my team anymore because I didn't read the paper the last week.
That's right.
And that's what it's come down to. If you don't pay attention every single day, you might miss a player leaving or a player coming to your school. And in the old days, we got 8 guys off our second team defense coming back next year. The depth's going to be awesome. And these days, it's like, oh wait, I forgot those 4 of those guys left.
Well, here's one for you. Today, I'm kind of perusing around Twitter just for a second, and I saw a Tennessee fan put a graphic up. Tennessee's third baseman put a thing up. She hit a home run last week in that down in Oklahoma City in the World Series. Living the dream, running around the bases. She put a thing up. Living the dream, a Tennessee uniform. She signed with Texas Tech yesterday. Because, Mahomes is spending a lot of money. And Brittany Mahomes apparently likes Texas Tech softball, so they paid a pitcher $1 million. They got like the New York Yankees at Texas Tech right now in softball. And then you got people like me, Hughie, because we're going to have a discussion about Josh Heupel. who I think was kind of sleepy in the transfer portal this past year. And I'm mad at the guy because we didn't raid enough rosters. So it kind of cuts both ways. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does, and you're right, and that's and Texas Tech. Mahomes is giving some money, but they also got the guy who made his money, I think, in fracking. He's a billionaire, and he and his wife, I think, played high school softball or something. But they got a catcher from Ohio State who was an all Big Ten catcher. They got Florida's second baseman, who's the daughter of Jason White Chocolate Williams. He and his wife both were athletes at Florida. She left for Texas Tech money.
Gosh.
The Tennessee third baseman left for Texas Tech softball money.
Gosh.
They signed Nigeria, Canada for $1 million a year.
Annoying.
So Texas Tech, they're trying to buy a women's college World Series.
And I hope they fail.
Paid off this year.
And I hope they fail.
I think a lot of people hope that. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing that's done in football. And you're right. You mentioned why didn't Heupel in Tennessee spend more money in the portal? And then on the one hand, you and I are both sort of like, look at Texas Tech. That's pathetic.
Right.
Like,
that's right.
Wait a second. My team should have spent more in the portal in football. What's going on here? Why are we so cheap? So if you're a coach, you can't win. And there is something to do. You don't want to bring in 20 portal guys a year. But I think that you're right. Most fans now, if your coach doesn't bring in 8 or 9 guys in the portal, why are you so lazy in the portal? And are we poor? Because I think that's the thought now. 4 years into this process.
Bino, did you see the College World Series with Mahomes and his wife in that little private booth they had up there in looking down on their pitcher that they bought? I just thought that was a very unseemly look. I thought it was kind of pathetic. It kind of ran all over me. And Laura looked at me and she said, "What do you think these sports are we're watching right now?" Because I was over there getting visibly angry. I go, that's disgusting. Look at this. I said, it's like they're looking down on their purchase, like it's a horse running a race. She said, and what do you think this is? And Bino, I don't know, but that Mahomes thing just rubbed me the wrong way. But that is what this is becoming. That is what this is becoming.
Yeah, it hadn't been the good old college try in a long time, but at least they hit it better than they do today. Mike,
you're right.
I've always been like you in that I look at it and I think that the best approach is recruiting out of high school and supplementing through the portal. But have we gotten to the point with this wide open annual free agency where that's outdated, where it's no longer true?
Right. And your point about they used to hide it better. It's like the Wizard of Oz. The curtain is fully open, and everybody now is watching it, and a lot of folks are disgusted by it. But I agree with you. I think the best. Ohio State last year they had an extremely well-paid roster in football, but it was mostly homegrown guys, and they supplemented with the portal, and they won a national title. I think most coaches would agree with that. I'm going to go out and recruit heavily, and then I'll add pieces that I need annually. I don't want to bring in 25 guys, but I'm going to go bring in 8 or 9 or 10 who can help me provide depth. Those guys can start as my younger guys get better, that kind of stuff. But now it's again, the Texas Tech thing. I've been told that Tennessee spends money in baseball for its transfer portal guys.
Heck, yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So on the one hand, you're criticizing Texas Tech, and on the other, go Tennessee, go Batella, get some more players.
No, Tony told me the other day on the air. He was on here because he hasn't done much radio here at all, much press at all. In fact, he's done none. He told me, he said, look, he said, we're going to really hit the portal hard. And so I'm cheering for that. But Mahomes buying my third baseman pisses me off.
Well, that's the thing.
And Josh Heupel not being active enough urinates me off.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mike, let's go back just one step. And you're exactly right. But I'm wondering if the time has passed for everyone to do what we're talking about, except Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Texas. the teams that recruit top 5 classes out of high school every year. I think that you're probably exactly right there. But now I'm questioning myself for the other teams that don't live in the top 5 high school recruiting classes.
I think you could live in the top 10. I think if you're
Okay.
in the top 10 consistently, you can supplement. But, you know, and, you know, maybe it's top 15 or something. But I actually don't think it's top 15. But, you know, the thing about college sports has always been you cheer for the team on the front of the uniform rather than the name on the back. That was always what I was told as a kid when it came to cheering between college and pro teams. So that pro guy, they could trade him, or he could leave in free agency. Well, same thing at college now. It's like it is. It's always been a minor league. Everybody knows that. But it really has – the business model has changed significantly. And, yeah, the left tackle you loved as a redshirt freshman, and he plays as a sophomore for you, and then he leaves for more money. Wait, this guy, that's not right. But it may not be right, but that's the way of the world now, and that is a problem in college athletics. I think the transfer portal is a much bigger concern than NIL.
Well, shout out to my man Tom Guffon, who absolutely loves you, Hughie, like the word, like the day is long. Reached out to me, wants to sponsor your segment. I mean, he just loves him some Hughie. God,
Right.
You got a fan, brother. You got a fan.
Good to hear.
Hey, Hughie, I love you. Thanks, man. Any final thoughts for us here on the way out?
No, the Men's College World Series starts, I guess, today. All season long we heard about how great the SEC was, and there's 2 teams there. The irony to me is 3 former Pac-12 teams are in the college.
How
World
about
Series.
that? West
So
Coast
maybe the best
baseball
high
ain't
school
dead yet.
baseball-
Yep.
Best high school baseball is played in the West, man.
Oh, no question. These SEC teams all are stocked with West Coast players.
Yep.
Way it is. I acknowledge that. Thank you, Hughie. Love you.
All right, talk to you next week. Thanks, man.
But you know what, Bino? One thing about Tony Vols, which I think is an interesting thing, the Northeast has good ball players too, and people like Tony, I meant to bring us up to him the other day. I've got like a laundry list of things I want to get into with Tony when we get time in the fall. One of them is, hey, man, teach me how you do your weather modeling. But Bino, the kids in the Northeast, those pitchers, like this kid from Rutgers that they really want, they got fresh arms compared to those kids in California and Florida. Real fresh arms, Bino.
Yeah, that's it's interesting, and I wonder how much more people are going to begin to recruit that area because of that.
Let's go to our busy phones now without further ado and get our first call in, and then we get Dave Pritchard on from Bearden High School. Hello and welcome into our caller. You're on the air.
What's up, y'all? This is William.
Hey, William, welcome in.
So
Hello, William. How you doing?
Hey, Bino. I'm doing good.
What you got for us today?
All right. So, I was looking on Ticketmaster to see what tickets or what football game I can go to for this upcoming Tennessee football season. And my options are the Aflac kickoff game against Syracuse, ETSU, UAB, Arkansas, and New Mexico State, Vanderbilt possibly.
Bino, what's your word of advice for that young man? Yeah.
Which of those, William, you think you'll attend?
Hey, William, stay right there because I got special guests because I want to talk to William about his plans here. William, stay there because Uncle Bino is going to unpack it. Might even buy your way. Uncle Bino might even pay for your tickets, William. I don't know where you're coming from, but Uncle Bino might make it rain on you like he did Petey back in the day, Peter Poker. Dave Pritchard now joining us, head coach, Bearden High School, taking some time for us. Hey, Coach, great Friday to you. Hope you're well.
Thanks, sir. Glad to be on.
Hey, so tell me about Brady Frederick, who came through your program. went to ETSU and was the SoCon pitcher of the year and just blew up in that league. Tell us about that young man who just committed to the University of Tennessee. Did you see it in him when he was in high school?
Absolutely. Fantastic kid, high academic kid, just a great kid, great family, but really a unique arm, and I think that's why Tennessee's so interested in him. I mean, he's a drop-down guy who literally hand almost scrapes the ground in his delivery. And so, obviously you saw that have success at ETSU, and I think it's going to play real well at UT. I mean, it played when he played them.
Oh, hell yeah. I bet you were proud as punch of him out there on that mound. He had Tennessee completely baffled. Another thing I loved about him is you could tell that kid's a serious competitor by the way he carried himself in that game.
Yeah, he's a fantastic competitor. I mean, he was a middle infielder for us who swung a really good bat. I think that's something that the typical fan probably doesn't realize about these D1 guys is they're all phenomenal athletes. And, he goes to ETSU and just focuses on the pitching side and, wet his feet as a freshman, but then just absolutely took off last season.
Bino, Jeff, jump in with Dave Pritchard, who is head baseball coach, Bearden High School, as Brady Frederick has committed and is going to play with the University of Tennessee next year.
Hey, Coach, thanks for your time. We appreciate you. I read somewhere about his transition. Apparently, and you can correct what I get wrong here, apparently he had some arm issues throwing overhanded, and he was already a middle infielder or second baseman that was accustomed to kind of coming from different angles, and just on a whim began to kind of throw the sidearm pitch and became real effective with it. Can you fill in the blanks on that?
Yeah, so when I got to Bearden, he was a junior, a rising junior. So I think that is a true story from his freshman, maybe the summer after his freshman year. But we took him and just kind of tinkered with him and encouraged him. As athletic as he is, we thought he could do it. And so just dropped him down. And to be real honest, what's crazy is he was not, I think his senior year, I have to go back and check, but he threw somewhere between 20 and 30 innings. I mean, he wasn't our go-to guy, but he turned it on super late. I remember him beating Ferry at the district tournament, and that got a lot of people's attention, and he just kind of ran with it from there.
So he goes on to – go ahead, Bino. Jump in. Go ahead.
Was he a guy that had Southeastern Conference interest or had interest in going to a Southeastern Conference team right out of high school, or did he not get the type of attention that from those schools?
Yeah, I mean, I think he whether you like it or not, I think he's a textbook example of just the landscape today. I mean, he just wanted to play. And, we weren't getting a ton of looks as a hitter or as a middle infielder. I mean, I think he's a small college middle infielder. He's a great athlete. And we were just sending some stuff out. And then really late in the year, almost after the high school season was over, we sent some pitching video out with some metrics. And actually, I remember posting a video to Twitter that just kind of went viral. And so, one school gets interested, and then all of a sudden a handful of schools are interested. And he had some interest in going to ETSU at the time. His brother was a football player there, so that's really where he wanted to go. So it ended up working out real well for him.
Brady Frederick's getting ready to join Tennessee's staff, and Dave Pritchard taking a few minutes for us from Bearden. Coach, do you think Tennessee uses him as a relief pitcher, or do you think they use him as a starter, if you were to guess?
If I had to guess, I'd say reliever. I think a lot of that probably depends on this upcoming fall, and as they're trying to navigate the whole.
I'm sorry, I think we lost him. Did we lose him? Coach, are you there? All right, let me try to reconnect with him, Bino. I think I've momentarily lost him. Let me bring William back in here. William, tell Bino your dilemma. Let me attempt to connect with Coach Pritchard. Go ahead, William.
Anyway, so I think my best odds are to go to the ETSU game. Because I hear that the traffic in Atlanta can be stupid. And I live in Georgia.
Stay right there, William. We'll get back to that traffic in Atlanta here momentarily. William, we're coming right back to you. Coach Pritchard, we were asking you about whether or not Tennessee would use him as a reliever. You said reliever, starter reliever.
Yeah.
You thought reliever. Let me ask you this at this SEC level, because these guys love these showcase arms.
Right.
But it seems to me in that sport, and I was talking to Chris Burke about this, he said if he were an SEC coach, he would keep some variety on his pitching staff. In other words, I'd have a couple soft tossers over here, and a couple knockout guys, and throw it high. Why don't they value, since we've seen so many, I don't want to call these guys soft tossers because that's diminishing, but guys that pitch it in the 80s, low 90s, that just have great spin rates, have great control, come from different arm angles. I mean, we see guys from crazy arm angles that are successful in Major League Baseball, getting them out at the highest level. Why don't they value those guys more in the SEC, do you think?
That's a great question. I think people are just such in love with velocity now that they're probably scared to take a chance on, is this going to work or is it not? But what's crazy is, hitters nowadays, like, mid to upper 90s is no thing. Like, they see it all the time. So I'm with you. I think as unique as you can make yourself, you're putting yourself in a better position to have success.
Do your kids struggle, like at your level, when they see somebody that throws the ball slower than what they're used to seeing it? Yeah. It looks like hitters of all variety struggle because they get used to seeing that. Whatever the speed is you're used to seeing, if somebody's a tick less than that, but the ball's moving a little bit, it seems like that's a struggle.
Well, that's what pitching is messing up timing. So I'm with you. I mean, our guys would rather see mid to upper 80s than mid 70s. Absolutely.
Hey, Bino, why don't these coaches? Do you think you're a longtime baseball head and you played the sport in college as well? Why do you think it is that these guys don't keep change of pace arms on their staff?
Tony, it's the showcase era. It's the ceiling era. They're just going to always go with velo above and beyond everything else. I would think. Coach probably knows more about that than I do, but that would be my answer to that. Coach, can you give us his pitch repertoire and kind of rank them by effectiveness, in your opinion?
Yeah, I know he's a fastball slider guy. At least he was in high school. I think that's the same thing. He throws his changeup a little bit, but not a ton. And so he really is just working on a fastball with a lot of run and can use that slider and he knows who he is. Like, the uniqueness is the deal. The arm slot is just so unique. Like, guys don't see that, and it gives them fits.
So how coach, was it harder? Did you find it harder to coach that once he decided to use that type of delivery?
No. I mean, at some point, you just let his competitiveness take over, and allow him to trust what he can do.
You almost could overcoach, right? If you start changing a kid and tinkering around with something that works. Why? I guess the old saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Is that kind of the conclusion you guys arrived at?
Absolutely.
On the way out, anything else you'd care, Coach, to add, and just how it felt for you when you heard this guy was going to come back and finish his college career in Knoxville?
I just think it's super exciting to see a young man's hard work pay off. I think it's exciting for his family to be able to attend more games, because he's right in their backyard. And then the biggest thing as a high school coach is just, that's the landscape. Bet on yourself now. You may have to go to a smaller school than you want, but if you play well, opportunity's going to knock. And so our guys can see that. Like, our guys know that's Brady Frederick. Like, I know Brady Frederick. Like, he's at UT. Like, if he can do that, I can do that. That's what's exciting for me.
Really well put. And I really appreciate your time. And I hope you have a great weekend. And thanks for spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me. Awesome.
All right. Yeah, Dave Pritchard one more time. Bino, sounds like Tennessee's got themselves a gem here. And the kid balled out here in Knoxville. Straight up balled out.
Absolutely, Tony. And that's a good thing about the transfer portal. Is kids falling through the cracks that want to play at the highest level and don't get an opportunity right out of high school. A couple of years in, boom.
Bino, we have a couple more minutes left here in hour number 1, and inquiring minds want to know if you're going to make it rain on this young man. Because I understand the Furkering kid might have a couple tickets for this young man if he wants to go to the Syracuse game. My understanding, I think he's got 6. William, tell us about your dilemma one more time. So where do you live?
Georgia. Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia.
Fort Oglethorpe, okay. So, Bino, you think we ought to do like a GoFundMe? So how many tickets do you need to this Syracuse game? And how much are they right now online?
Probably 3 for me, my mom, and my dad.
So 3 total?
If so. Yeah, I think so.
And what is one ticket cost to that, William?
Let me see.
Bino, are you inclined to join the GoFundMe for the caller, William? FUN, GoFundMe. Because I'm inclined, Bino, if you're inclined. If you're not inclined, I'm not inclined, Bino. But if you're inclined, I'm inclined.
Are you inclined to kind of renegotiate my contract, Tony?
No pressure on Uncle Bino over here. Bino, and come to think about it, you've got a nephew that lives down there. Do you think your nephew, who's in high society, by the way, do you think your nephew, who's in high society there, would be inclined to get involved in this GoFundMe since it's in his backyard?
He certainly might be, Tony. I'll give you Chris's number.
I thought you would
feel
help.
free to contact him.
You would help William here with his go. So, William, talk to me. What's a ticket cost of this thing?
Like $127. I just looked.
Okay, $127. So let's say it's $150 each. So, Bino, what's $150 times 3?
That'd be $450, Tony.
Oh, William, we need to do a GoFundMe for you. I'm going to ask callers the rest of the show today, William. Now is the problem getting there for you, William, or is the problem traffic? What's the problem, William?
It would most likely be traffic because I hear traffic in Atlanta sucks.
So from Fort Oglethorpe, how many times have you been down to Atlanta?
Just once, just going to Six Flags when I was like 9 or 10.
Oh, we need to go fund me for this kid. Bino, we need to fund him. This is important. William, I'll tell you what, shoot me an email. My people are going to get in touch with your people. I need your contact information, and then we'll get you back next week, and let's do a bit with that, a.k.a. a segment. Thank you, William. I love you. Shoot me an email, commonfan@gmail.com, William. commonfan@gmail.com. Put in the heading, GoFundMe. Bino, I heard by the end of that call that you were really on board with this. I think that's cool, man.
You're coming around, Tom.
So we continue. On the other side, we get serious. Tennessee football serious, which is as serious as we can be here. Because it is the cash cow. It is the means by which the clock is set around here. It determines whether or not you're going to have a solid sports year. It is for some people, it's the only sport they pay attention to. I'm not like that, but here it is a sport replete in tradition. Quoting the great Jackie Butler, you have your ups and your downs, but mostly you have ups. On the other side, we talk about Josh Heupel's tenure. Go over to tclub.team, see what Bino had to say. I'm going to have Bino unpack what he said there today, and we're going to talk about it. When you think about Josh Heupel's tenure right now, are you glass half empty or glass half full? That is the topic when we continue on hour number 2, right after this.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, 5th quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Listen up, baseball fans. It's time to step up to the plate and get some new Tennessee gear from Alumni Hall. Don't you dare swing and miss by shopping elsewhere. Alumni Hall has the best selection, top brands for you to choose from. Shop in store, 3 Knoxville locations, or Bristol or Murfreesboro. Anytime, online, anywhere in the world at alumnihall.com. Come grab your Tennessee baseball jerseys. Incredible. Oh, Coach Vitello's jersey, hats, decals, t-shirts, and so much more. Earn $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. Shop Alumni Hall, your ultimate Tennessee shopping destination. Go Vols from Alumni Hall. Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow, I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care, I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne. Celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to ConnectSeal. your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's KONEXIAL.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather and Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather and Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather and Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
PB back with you, 865-200-5402. I meant to come up with a play this weekend. I had one on the, for my friends at VIP Play. I had a special parlay for, and we'll see how it happens. I got 4 guys finishing in the top 20 in the U.S. Open, where the great Mike Fidanza's up there. My boy's on the scene. He sent me some great photos. But I'm going to tell you, they really have that course tricked out. And Bino jumped into the VIP Play ranks. Bino, what are you riding right now? You were telling me off the air here.
Tony, I took Coastal Carolina plus 650 to win the College World Series.
Let's go.
I thought that was the best play out there.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, Bino, if you can, find tclub.team or what you sent me, wherever that is, and I want you to share with people, because I want to talk about, and we're going to frame this around a piece that Adam Sparks wrote in the Knoxville News-Sun earlier in the week, which is around this Josh Heupel's tenure. And Josh Heupel obviously has won 10 games twice, which is remarkable. Now, Tennessee's in a little bit of a window right now where they've had if we're just being honest here, they've had a little bit of a generous schedule from the league. compared to some of the other teams in the league, yet you're still playing a Southeastern Conference schedule. So you're still playing at the top of the sport. And we're going to talk this out. So if you want to get in with us at 865-200-5402, we'd love to hear from you. But Bino, go ahead and share what you said, and then we'll get into this a little bit.
Yeah, Tony, I just thought it was a fabulous piece that Adam Sparks wrote. I believe it was published in June 8th, last Sunday. It's News Sentinel. And basically it's entitled UT Fans Critical Despite Heupel's Wild Success. And it talks about the concerns of the program going forward that a lot of fans have, and maybe the reason that they have those concerns. And you and I have kind of fallen on a different side of this. And I'll say, just as I said in the blog, I'll preface this by saying, I know that I'm overly defensive of Josh Heupel and his staff for two reasons. One, I'm just so grateful for the way that he rescued and restored the program from what I think was its lowest point of the time of my fandom. And also because for the first time in decades, we've got a guy at the helm that I like and respect as a man. I don't know how fair that is, but that's the way that I view it. Because of his success in this short period of time, which I think is a high level of success, I've chosen to trust him in some areas, to afford him some trust that generally I haven't given to anyone who's only been here for 4 years. But that's the choice that I've made. And in the piece that I put in the blog, and I don't even know if this is a word, but I think it comes across a little too accusatory. What I should have said was, I've chosen to do this, not I've chosen to do this, so you should too. I understand the concerns out there, but I am leaning toward trusting him in putting together this roster. I look at our roster. Here, I'll throw out the first pitch. I look at our roster 5 years in, and admittedly, I think, is that where we should be 5 years in? But then I think back thinking, when he first took the job, I didn't think his roster was any good at all. And the second year in, he wins 11 games with them, which I think should engender some trust that he can do the same with this. There's no question we need playmakers to emerge. So did the first team that he ever took over here. So that's the first pitch.
And I'm of the mindset that I agree with a lot of what you said. I think we had a very much a clown show kind of thing going there that sort of culminated in the Shiano Sunday deal and, kind of laid bare for the entire college football world to see, and those that really pay attention to that space, just what a mess it was here. And I certainly don't want to go through that again. I think, as I've talked about how mystifying this offseason's been for me when I think of Josh Heupel, it really doesn't even have anything to do with the Nico stuff. The Nico stuff, I lay at the feet of Nico and his crazy family. I think that would have blown up on Nick Saban, the Nico stuff. Look, when you have people that are, but then again, as I say this, I think the Nico thing does illustrate something about Josh Heupel that I wish he had, that I don't think he has. And I think you have to have it if you're going to do this thing long term. And be like sort of a generational coach instead of a pretty good coach. There's a lot of pretty good coaches down through the years in SEC football. The generational coaches have sort of a killer instinct. And they have this kind of, I'm going to guard my program jealously at all turns. And the thing I can't get out of my head about him, I just think he's too non-confrontational. And this is my first pitch. You cannot let your starting quarterback, I don't care, this era, that era, 100 years ago, yesterday, or tomorrow, negotiate with fellow SEC teams and you find out about it and he's still your quarterback the next day. And I'm not sure that our head coach wouldn't allow that again. Because I don't know how confrontational he is. And
I guess, Tony, my worries are somewhat along that line of yours, in that maybe he's a little bit too loyal.
Yes.
But that's I hate to jump on a man for that when that's a quality that I really admire. Now, I will agree with you. I think that could happen to anyone once, and I think that they, especially, this is new world stuff.
You're right.
New world stuff. He's the first guy that's basically ever had to deal with this.
You're right.
With what he dealt with.
Yes.
Now I think that he thought that they had that fixed and that Nico was in the boat. And I don't think he ever dreamed that they would pull the shenanigans that they did during spring. Now I can forgive that once, but like you, if that's not a lessons learned, then we've really got an issue.
Well, and the second thing is, and I want listener input on this as the phones are ringing, and we're going to go right to our TLD Logistics phone lines. The way I would frame this, Bino, and you tell me if this is fair. When I read your piece, you're basically saying, I don't want to go back there. It almost read to me like, because this is me, I acknowledge that this guy has done a hell of a job to this point. There is no doubt about that. Zero doubt about that. This guy is 50-50 with Alabama right now and had a lead on him down there a couple years ago, and the game sort of got away. He hadn't figured out the Georgia puzzle yet, but who in this league's figured the Georgia puzzle out? The answer is nobody. But when I read your piece, you tell me if I'm wrong here. You're like if we're driving in a car, okay? You got your eye on that rearview mirror going, man, I got to get away from that. And I'm looking out the front windshield. And my concern is when I look out the front windshield, I see trouble up ahead. And I read your piece, and you're kind of going, yeah, there might be trouble up ahead, but I'm still looking back at that mirror because I don't want to go back there. Do you think that's a fair thing to say, or am I miscouching what you're saying?
No, I think that's part. I think that is a part of it, Tony. I think that's a part of why I at times am overly defensive of him. But I also think that he's a really good football coach. I do not think he's a generational football coach. I think we've had one of those here, and I never saw his teams play in football. But I think he is a really solid coach, and I think he's been more successful than he's given credit for. And Adam doesn't take a side in this, but he brought up something that was really, really interesting to me as I read it. I don't think that Josh Heupel has been given enough credit for being able to adjust on the fly. For instance, the first 2 years of his tenure here, our offense was tremendous. Fun to watch, exciting, looked like something that no one had an answer for. The last 2 years, we've been much more plodding than we've been prolific, and it's been a harder grind. But do you realize in the first 2 years, with all of that offense and all of that firepower, we won 18 games. In the last 2 years, in an uglier manner, we won 19 games.
That's impressive. That's impressive. When they knew Nico couldn't process it last year and they changed on a dime, you got my vote, man. A lot of coaches would have tried to shove a square peg into a round hole last year. There's no doubt, Bino, that's true. they said to themselves, kind of what Tony said the other day on the air, when he told me, he said, now he wouldn't tell us what game and he wouldn't tell us what series. He said there was a spot at home, and I don't know if you caught this, Bino. He said there was a spot at home where his team did not respond to getting punched and getting kind of ridiculed. And he and his brass behind the scenes said, well, we got to change our tack with these guys because they're not going to be who we want them to be. And I do think Tennessee last year after the Oklahoma game, or in the midst of the Oklahoma game, decided, hey, we got to get out of here with a win. And if you think about that for a second, just for Bino's point, I'm going to argue for Bino here for a second. If there was ever a time where Josh Heupel wanted to show those Oklahoma people, hey, my offense is going to rain down on you, we're going to put, because if that kid and that offense would have been what they thought they were going into that game, he could have showed those people that fired him and humiliated him, hey, you know what? I'm putting 60 points on you tonight. We're going to beat you about 60-10. And you know that's what he wanted to do. But in the middle of it, they recalibrated and recalculated and said, you know what? We're going to get out of here with a comfortable win. And we were really praising him on the post-game show for that.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. I'm not like a crusade against Heupel guy. I see exactly what Bino's saying. And then I think this. That same coach that won all those games, they chose Nico as their quarterback, and he did not fit what their offense is. The kid's meek, didn't want to get hit. Now, he ran a little bit in the Ohio State game because he was running for his life, but he was not a natural, comfortable, fit the offense guy. He just isn't. They picked Joe Milton out of the transfer portal early on. He didn't fit their offense. He's more of a pro-style, pro-type quarterback. They had Hendon Hooker right under their nose, who's great at it, and didn't think he could do it. And then I think about these wide receivers. You should have a couple that stick. I mean, if you're going to be here 5 years and recruit these guys, there should be a couple that stick. They can't just all miss. I don't care if you're recruiting only three. People say, well, you're only getting 3-star, 4-star guys. Okay. You should have a couple that stick. You should have a couple that stick. And so far, Bino, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know where the sticks are there. And that's a worry of mine. That is a real world, hey, you're about to inherit your players. And here's another one. This offensive line coach, now that we're in a system where, and I was telling somebody that knows this, they're having to overpay in the free agent market to overcompensate for this guy's inability to develop offensive linemen. And that is going to hurt other areas of their football team going forward. That's in the era we're in. Now, these are real-world concerns I'm bringing up. I acknowledge everything Bino says. I applaud Josh Heupel for what he did with that Oklahoma, for recalibrating on the fly. And that surprises me, by the way, that thing about the winning more games, because it doesn't feel that way, Bino. You know what I mean?
Oh, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. I was shocked by it when I read it too, because that's not what your eyes tell you, but that's what happened.
Isn't that amazing? So let's go to the phones.
Yeah.
And I want to get anything else you want to say, Bino? Because we're not kind of debating here. We both want the same thing. Bino knows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bino knows my heart, and I know his, and I don't want to go back there. Now I'm looking more out of that windshield and seeing the trouble. Here's the trouble up ahead. The schedule's going to get harder next year. We had a 2-year window here, and I'm not diminishing what they did last year. I'm not. But Bino said it with Mike Huguenin earlier. Repeat the thing about, for those people just joining us, Bino, about the transfer portal, because that is my conclusion I've come to. You said it to Hughie. If you remember what you said about the top 5 teams, go ahead.
Well, I've always been one that thought that you recruit high school first, and then you supplement with the transfer portal, and I still believe that. But I'm wondering if you're not a perennial top five high school recruiting class collector year in, year out, like Ohio State, like Georgia, like Texas, like Alabama with Saban there. I wonder if, because you've got wide open free agency every year, if that's still the case with teams that don't perennially recruit in the top 5.
And here's the thing to keep in mind with us, because Cinco was talking about this the other day. We're recruiting like, I think, 8th in the league, but around a top 10 class. But like 7th or 8th in the league is where we were last time around. I don't know where this class is going to end up tracking. Who knows? The lack of portal, and people say, well, the portal wasn't that good. You make the portal good. Do you think, let me give you an example. The kid from East Tennessee State that just committed to Tennessee went in with a no contact tag, came here the next day and committed. Now, I might have been born on a Thursday. I have to check. December 23rd, 1966. Might have been, but it wasn't yesterday. Bino, you think maybe Tennessee might have talked to that kid before he entered the portal?
Yes.
Maybe. Here's what you do. You have to roll your sleeves up and go get these players off other people's rosters. You make the portal what it is. You make the portal what it is. You think that the kid that Rick Barnes had this past year just magically appeared on their roster? When I was telling Bino and these guys behind the scenes that kid's name for like 6 weeks before he went into the portal, maybe 8 weeks. I mean, come on now. You have to do it. But in order to do it, you got to do it. You think that some of these people that Kim Caldwell's gotten have just kind of appeared like a vision, like a vapor? You watch that lady. Watch the fire she has. I think Josh Heupel is an excellent football coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. But I think this paradigm going forward, I think this thing has shifted, man. I think you need killers. And I hope I'm wrong, Bino. I really hope I'm wrong. I really want to be wrong, man. But you know me. I have to say my opinion. That's just how I am.
Yeah. For me, Tony, I'll go back. I think he's just earned my trust as far as what he's going to put together as his roster. That may prove in the next couple of years to be really foolish. But I've seen him help himself in the portal before.
Yes.
And I don't think he just decided he was going to quit. I think he either decided that his roster was what he wanted to go forward with, right or wrong. That's the decision he made. Or he just didn't see in the portal what he wanted. But now I can't discount what you're saying, that you can make the portal different than what it is.
To the phones we go. 865-200-5402. Shout out tonight. Fountain City Ramblers are playing, and I'll be out there tonight with Lancey and Lauren. Riverview Valley Farm in West Knoxville. They have delicious burgers and ice cream. It's a family farm. Byron Williams, shout out to you. It's the place where Taylor Swift was last week, if that gives you any indication, when they came into town with what's Travis Kelce, I think is the guy's name. Yeah. Who I call Mr. Swift. Anyway, we start at 6 o'clock tonight. Actually, we start at 7, but they start serving at 6, and it smells so good there, and it's so fun there, and it's so down home there. And it's Riverview Family Farm in West Knoxville. We're going to hang out and play some music tonight. Let's go back to the phones. Without further ado, we'll get as many people on as humanly possible, and we'll probably continue this conversation on Monday show, Bino, if you're up for that, because I think it's worth talking about. And we both want the same thing, and I respect the hell out of what he's saying. He probably thinks I'm a simpleton, but I respect exactly what Bino's saying here. That's what's interesting about because it's not even really an argument. It's just kind of looking at something and going, okay, that's what I draw from that picture, and this is what you're drawing. And it's, nothing's wrong here. It's all kind of subjective. And because I do think Josh Heupel's earned the right to be trusted. He's shown that. He is absolutely what Bino just said is the absolute truth. I'm scared for the next couple of years. Hello and welcome in. You're on the TLD Logistics phone lines. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Tennessee Tom, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Tom, welcome in, buddy. Good to hear your voice.
Yoshi, ha, 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 to the Fountain City Ramblers tonight.
Good to talk to you,
Hope
brother.
you have a good gig, man.
Thank you, my man.
Since '95, brother, I've been glued to you, and you've always provided a format where people can disagree with you.
Yep.
Now, I've been flushed and spent a lot of time with the Tidy Bowl, man, but we've always got over it. But in this case, if anybody's thinking fire Josh Heupel, I think they're absolutely insane. It's crazy. The only thing I got against him is the offense. I think it's a great offense, but is he willing to change? Is he willing to get back in that lab and cook up some more recipes, or can he adjust? I heard what Bino said, but I got to look at what the competition was the last 2 years and how he's absolutely hands-off on the defense with the defensive coordinator. That's a positive to me. He doesn't know much. I mean, he probably knows about it, but he's not getting in Banks' way. I think that says a lot as far as where we got our 19 or 18 wins, Bino, that you had. But I'm still out on the caps of, can this dude really let go of that offense when he needs to? And we're about to find out this year. If this QB can't do what needs to get done, can he go back to something that works in the SEC? I mean, I know he does a run. It's a run game, but I'm the head coach. I'm not a coach. Played a little high school ball. I'm not an expert, but I think it's sort of a finesse running game to get everybody out like that. And my question is I think he needs to get some advice and get some new ideas from somebody else in his offense. And is he willing to do it? Guys, I'll hang up and listen to your comments.
Hey, I appreciate it, TNT. I always enjoy talking with you. I think I've seen that he's willing to let go of the reins a little bit by just our approach in the last 2 years when they took away a little bit of the deep stuff that's such a big part of his offense. If I were to get on Josh any, it would have been that he didn't use the approach that he used against NC State or that he used late against Oklahoma in some other games. It kind of went back to his old way. So, but now about bringing in new ideas, I don't know. That's a little bit of a concern of mine that he'll never go away enough from people he's comfortable with or his approach to take in new ideas that didn't come from his school of thought. That I don't know.
Back to the phones we go at 865-200-5402. Talking about Josh Heupel's football program and the viability going forward is the way I would put it. Hello and welcome in. You're on TLD Logistics phone lines. You're on the air. Hi.
Hey, what's going on, Tony? Who's your ball, Ryan?
Hey, Rye, welcome in.
Yeah, real quick on Heupel. Here's what I would pose to people, and I'm not saying these guys are the same, but do you remember the 2020 COVID Florida Gators? They were the team that gave that unbelievable Alabama team. I mean, to me, that Alabama team or the 2018 LSU team is the best SEC team I've seen in the last decade easily, if not 25 years. They gave that team a heck of a game in Atlanta. They beat Georgia. They killed Tennessee. Finished in the top 5. A year later, he was fired because he didn't recruit. Now, I'm not saying they're similar, but for those out there listening saying, oh, everybody relax on some of these recruiting concerns, it can happen. I don't think Heupel's wheels will fall off because he's a nice guy. He's not like Mullen and a weirdo. And he's recruiting fine, But I'm with you, Tone, on these concerns of I'm more concerned about a 9-3 ceiling moving forward. And that it's not the wheels fall off. It's, oh, this is an 8-4 floor, 9-3 ceiling mediocrity in 3 years. That's what I'm more concerned about.
Bino, what do you say to that?
What the right answer to that is.
Well, I want to hear what Bino.
Ryan, I guess my question is, with a guy that's had double-digit wins in 2 of his 4 years here, why would we think that 9-3 all of a sudden is going to become a ceiling?
That's a very good point. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I get Tony's concern, and maybe I'm not voicing it articulately enough, but it's not.
You don't think his roster will be that he puts together solely would be a 10 win type team? Is that it?
If now we got to see what these wideouts that he was so sure on look like.
Yeah.
That will tell us a lot. If it turns out we have several very good gyms, then everybody relax. But Tone, I agree with Tone. These offensive playmaker issues are a little bit concerning because we all saw it with Ohio State. If you want to get, maybe not that elite, but if you ever want to win a championship again, we got to get better elite wideouts. Now, that doesn't mean you can't find a diamond in the rough, but I've read that people negatively recruit wide receivers and say, look, guys, that's not a real route tree. That's not a real offense to go if you want to play in the NFL.
Yeah.
That is what's the kid's name that transferred in and was now, I think he's with Seattle maybe. I think that's what that kid just said. He said out loud on a podcast. He said, Tennessee offense.
Is that Thornton?
Yeah. Thornton. Thank you, Bino. That's what he said. He said Tennessee's offense did not prepare me for that, and I had to show those people. And people thought he was kind of dogging on the program, and I don't know. Maybe he was kind of telling the truth. I don't know. Whatever it is, because Bino, I would have thought when Hyatt had his run, and the guy that's with the Bears now, his name's escaped me for some reason. Tillman. When those guys, I would have thought you'd have your pick of the litter for wide receivers to play in this system.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you have, Bino? Wouldn't you have thought that, Bino? Because it's so fun too. I mean, you're out there just running in thin air. You're balling out.
Yeah, I would have as well. And again, I go back to we're going to have someone emerge because neither of those guys, Hyatt was more highly thought of as a recruit, I believe, but really didn't do anything here. And Tillman was an afterthought.
Yes.
Until Heupel got here.
That's so bizarre.
They emerged under him.
Yeah. But why does Ryan Ringo
I believe it could happen again with this crew. And again, I'm out there. This is a little bit of blind trust, but I believe I believe with all my heart if they use Boo on the offensive side, I don't think this receiving core will be Hyatt and Tillman, but I think it'll be better than anything since then.
And that would ease my concerns a lot. I love Josh Heupel. I hope he wins the championship here. I'm not saying fire him. I am in Tone's camp of, like, guys, it's not a small deal that we are not getting elite playmakers if we ever want to do that again. And it's not a small deal. I hate to say this. The Florida Gators stole some recruits from us to hop right in our SEC recruiting ranking in the last cycle. So that thorn in our side ain't going away just yet.
Thank you, brother.
Out the door, Tone, if you will permit me. I couldn't call in yesterday. Did you hear Dooley is thinking about running as a Republican for the Georgia Senate?
I mean, why wouldn't he? What's Dooley? I mean, what's he going to do? We've made these guys rich people, and they're bored, so why wouldn't he do that? He's got a law background too, right?
I guess, but my hilarious, ridiculous thing, this was before my time as a student at UT, but do you remember Dooley's Rommel
of course
analogy?
Never forget it. never be forgotten by this living fan.
June 6, 1945. We just celebrated, I believe, do the math in my head. Would that be the 80th anniversary?
Wow. Nice stick
Normandy?
by you.
So in honor of Dooley, little word of advice for politics. If you're going to be historically sacrilegious and compare something trivial to something like Normandy, make sure you're not the Nazis in your own analogy. Little political piece of advice.
Wow, I didn't hear that. See that comment from Ryan. Let's go back to the phones on our TLD Logistics phone line. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. That's why I try to keep politics out of this thing. Hello and welcome in. But Derek Dooley, one thing about political office, you better be likable if you're going to run for something. Bino, did you find that guy likable or abrasive and a complete moron? How did you find him, Bino?
No, he's only got half the equation, Tony. He knows everything, but he's not likable.
Hello and welcome in. You're on the air. I would not vote for Derek Dooley for dog catcher. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Tony, it's Mark in Chattanooga. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Mark. Great to hear your voice. Got a great some different voices today. Thank you, man. Thanks for being there.
No problem. I didn't get a chance to call in yesterday, and I want to eventually tie into what your conversation is going on about Josh Heupel. But
sure.
I wanted to lead off with I wanted to give a pick for a what the frick moment at Tennessee.
Yes.
I don't know if this one was mentioned yesterday, but I want to take it back to the infamous firing of Jeremy Pruitt press conference. I still have the clip on my phone just because it's hilarious every time I watch it. But you got Coach Fulmer sitting up there in a tracksuit, and the headline states, Tennessee breaking news: we fired Jeremy Pruitt for illegal, recruiting or whatever. And this man sits up there and they ask him about any positives that you could maybe mention about the Pruitt era. And certainly the recruiting, it's been good. So I had to say the recruiting's been good.
And looking back on that, it was just a few short years ago that we were in NCAA Dutch, Bino, and you think about it now, it all just seems so quaint that players were getting a few $100s. And now we've come to learn Chick-fil-A bags, not McDonald's bags. Shout-outs to our friends at Chick-fil-A and their mid-food they serve, no offense. But, what in the world? But he's right. That was Fulmer's answer that day, which – they really put Fulmer up on that stage to do him a solid when really what they should have done was fired him too. He should have gotten fired right then that day, just like they fired him because he oversaw it. But they didn't do that. And in trying to do him a solid, Bino, they end up with that kind of embarrassing clip that kind of lives,
Yeah, that's true.
So go
You're
ahead,
absolutely right.
How do you view this? How do you view this Heupel thing we've been talking about?
Okay, so my take, Tony, I fully agree with what you're saying. I was there in Columbus for the Ohio State game, so I want to preface it by saying that. And I also want to put full on respect for Josh Heupel and what he's accomplished here. People kind of, he revived the program. We're relevant again. All that is great. But when I was sitting there watching that game, Tony, there was not a moment I felt like we had enough on this roster to stand with the big dogs. And just sitting and taking in that game, I don't know how you did take from this that there should be a glaring help wanted sign that we have got to get better players on the roster. And the fact that he wasn't very active in the portal and let the Nico situation fester, that's a big trouble. That's a big red flag for me. And I think that's the only thing about Heupel that I can say negatively. He's kind of had a history so far of letting things fester too much before he steps in. And I'm a little concerned about that.
Thank you, Mark. Great talking to you. Bino, your thoughts on that?
Tony, again, I'm not here to dismiss anyone's thoughts about how they feel about this program going forward. They're people have concerns, and that's what we're talking about. So,
and the guy has done an excellent job.
I don't know that that Ohio State game is going to always color this discussion. Unfavorably to Heupel. I don't know how fair that is, but that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because if they had the format they should have had, because it's so NCAA, because they can't get out of their own way. That's why they're in the mess they're in right now with the state of the game, the state of play, so to speak. But the NCAA should have had Tennessee and SMU playing each other. That was the season the Vols had.
Yeah. And there's, Tony, I said it before we went up there, that we were getting ready to see the best Ohio State team that any team had ever seen. No team walked into a worse spot throughout the entire playoffs than Tennessee did.
That's right. Their fan base up there completely turned on that Ohio State team. Those kids walked out on that field literally like they were, the term, men possessed. And they put a thorough beating on us. But you know what they did the next week? They smashed their opponent into the ground. You know what they did in the semifinal? They beat the snot out of somebody. They beat that Oregon team. They made them look worse than we did. And they have a pretty damn good roster. They beat them and a really good young coach too, and this Dan Lanning guy, who did Tennessee a solid, by the way. If you remember, back in the spring, Dan Lanning kind of saved Tennessee's bacon there.
Yeah.
But we'll go back. We'll get back to this conversation, and we'll do that. Bino was just mentioning, my friends, we were talking about VIP play online. Check them out. Go and see what we're talking about. Go claim the VIP play welcome bonus. First bet, $5. You're going to get a $100 bonus bet, but you got to put my promo code in, TN Tony. Promo code is TN Tony. Also, the VIP Players Club sweepstakes. Every bet you make on VIP, you get entries into the VIP Players Club sweepstakes. June 30th is when they're going to draw. Remember, you've got week 1 lines, and you've also got college football, NFL season fast approaching, and you can get a 10% profit boost on any NFL week 1 game right now that you're feeling jumpy with. So remember, Major League Baseball, 25% parlay boost, 3 picks or more. NBA playoff with the finals here, no danger wager. Receive 50% of your stake back in bonus bet when your wager, if your wager loses. And with the college tournament here, the College World Series, 20% baseball tournament profit boost, 3 picks or more. VIP play, where everybody's treated like a VIP play. 200 leagues live right now. Get the app. See what we're talking about. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789. 21 and over, located in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. And we come back with more. I want to do this. I got to get one in. We'll come back with more. We will do some TLD logistics overdrive overtime and probably continue this conversation as well into Monday after this.
Since 2001, Highbridge Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling has been the trusted and preferred name for over 70,000 Knoxville locals. Looking for expert plumbing services and HVAC services, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. Voted best plumber in Knoxville and one of Knoxville's best HVAC companies 7 years in a row. Highbridge is a fully licensed mechanical contractor and committed to excellence and craftsmanship, so you can trust our certified experts to go above and beyond to meet your plumbing and HVAC needs, no matter what problem arises. We also make it easy with transparent pricing, free on-site estimates for replacements, and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing when credit approved. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Highbridge at 865-264-8090 or look online at highbridge.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
If you haven't been to the brand new Covenant Health Park yet, what are you waiting for? There are so many incredible promotions still to come. First, you asked for it, so you got it. All You Can Eat Wednesdays is back. And how about Thirsty Thursdays with half-off draft beers? Or maybe Smokey's Version Night, 4th of July, Pete the Cat Day, or Christmas in July. Check out all the great upcoming promotions at SmokiesBaseball.com and grab your tickets now.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our Gold Bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hi there, Basilio crew. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. If you're thinking about selling your home, I've got good news for you. The East Tennessee and Knoxville areas are projected to have another strong year. I'll be happy to talk with you about the latest and greatest info you need. So give me a call at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. Tony B back with you, 865-200-5402. Let's get back to our conversation of the day. Bino, Jeff Henderson, and myself. And as I was saying, we probably will take this into Monday and just kind of reset it. But the truth is that there's a kind of a raging debate right now across Big Orange Country about this deal. And we'll get our next call in. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the show. You're on your TLD Logistics phone lines as we talk about Josh Heupel. Hi.
Happy Fino Day, gentlemen.
Hey, Paulie.
How we doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
We're good. I'm sorry. I want to apologize right now because I'm 4 days early from my 90-day suspension, self-inflicted suspension.
Nice.
But Tony, is there any way I could ask my great friend Bino a question?
Hit it, Paulie.
All right, Bino. I got a question. How can you? I don't understand. How can you be a
Here comes the Yankee fan question.
Yankees fan, lifetime Yankees fan, and a Tennessee Vol fan, because the Yankees, they can get to the World Series and lose in Game 7 on the last pitch, and they lose, and the season is considered a failure. And then the other end, with the Tennessee Vol fan, it's just, oh, look at our past. We've done nothing. We're doing great. It's great.
Paulie, I don't know how many times I've answered this. Apparently, I've never answered it to your satisfaction. The Yankees have every advantage known to man in Major League Baseball, above and beyond most everyone else, with the exception of the Dodgers. I look at college and think it's a much more even playing field than the Yankees have ever been on. So, no, I'm not as demanding of Tennessee as I am of the Yankees.
And trust me, I'm a lifetime Cubs fan. I know what you're talking about. I'm the opposite of a Yankees fan. But the next thing I got is, guys, when someone calls in and says the one concern I got about Josh Heupel is his offense, that's not a good thing, because that's the best quality that we've been sold on. And the only time we've been successful is for some reason that Hendon Hooker got in the lineup.
They made the playoff without Hendon Hooker last year, though.
Yeah, you agree. I agree with you, Tony. And our quarterback got his helmet cracked.
Oh, no, he was not.
It doesn't matter what kind of quarterback you got if you can't block and you have no receivers, Tony.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's my concern.
And I still honestly believe that is one of the reasons why this all happened, is because they went through spring practice and they're like, oh, man, nothing's changed. We still have a horrendous offensive line, and we have no proven receivers. And we can't blame his best friend, the offensive line coach. We can't blame the recruiter. We can't blame Faulkner. We gotta take. It's got to go to the top. He's going to really have to prove himself this year. Would you agree,
Bino?
No, I think he's already proven himself.
Who?
I think he's already proven that he's a solid head football coach.
Well,
I don't think you can win. I don't think you can get double-digit wins here twice in 4 years and not be a solid offensive football coach from a standpoint, from the starting point that he had, probably.
The starting point, all his best players he didn't bring in here,
That's not true. Sampson was his player. Pierce was his player.
One.
There have been several guys that were his players.
Him and Pierce. But guess what? This ain't basketball. This is football. You need 22 players, not 2.
Well, Paulie, thank you. So Paulie's spoken. To the radio listener, I love you. We appreciate you. TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime commences. And we'll come back Monday, probably talk about this as well. Check us out at tclub.team. Again, tclub.team. Much love. Thanks.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259 AP. Powell, Knoxville.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Bino, your thoughts on our conversation there so
And now
far?
let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Your thoughts, Bino, on our conversation as we get some more phone calls in.
I think it's been really good, Tony. I've enjoyed it.
Let's go back to our busy phones and let's see where we left off. Trying to determine where we left off. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
What's up, Tony? Josh.
Wings.
So what was the question about Heupel today, the topic?
Joshy, we're just talking about the kind of the different viewpoints of where we sit as a program.
Okay. So, Bino, we've won 10 games. Josh Heupel has won 10 games with Tennessee out of the last 3 years, last year and 2 years ago. So the only concern I really have with Heupel going forward, and I know other people may have that concern or may not, but the road stinker every few years, like losing to Arkansas this past season, and like I know every SEC team and every other major conference has that problem, but what do you guys think about that?
Bino?
Yeah, I think you have to get that out of your resume. I think that's a legitimate concern that we've seen, that especially on the road in some games that you think that you should win, you don't. But I don't know that that's only us, Josh, but it certainly keeps you from being elite.
And losing at South Carolina 2 years ago when they could have made the playoffs if they would have beat them. You know?
Yeah, that was a damaging loss there, Joshy boy, and a puzzling loss, no question.
Yeah. And another concern I have with Heupel, can he develop his own players now that this season he'll have his own players, you know, like time will tell. What do you guys think?
I think we've seen that he can develop players, Josh. He developed players that weren't his. So I think we've seen that he can develop players.
Right. Yeah, I know that. I'm not discounting that.
The question is, can you get enough of them on campus at the same time? And that's what we're going to find out.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, do you think if the offensive line isn't good this year and somehow if they only win 7 games, do you think there might be a question where Josh Heupel finally does the unthinkable and fires an assistant, Glenn Ellerby?
I don't know. He's such a creature comfort guy, man. Who knows how to answer that?
Yeah.
I guess my question to that, Tony, would be, in what season has Ellerby committed a fireable offense with our offensive line? And in what season has our offensive line been bad enough since Heupel's been here to fire the offensive line coach?
Well, that's a great point.
I know there's concerns about who he about developing guys that they recruit out of high school. We should have seen someone by now. I'm not questioning that. I do wonder in this free movement transfer portal world, how many people are actually going to take the time to develop offensive linemen or quarterbacks, the two most developmental positions in football? Will anyone have the patience to let that happen? Or are we going to basically see everyone using transfer offensive linemen, upperclassmen, and transfer quarterbacks?
That's true, Bino. Yeah, one last point out the door. I do think if Tennessee does win like 9 games this year, or maybe even 10, if they somehow win 10 this year, I think Josh Heupel, from what he had from the roster turnover this year, losing Nico, I think he should get SEC Coach of the Year.
Thank you, Roger. Yeah, I agree with that. I think 9 wins this year. You're Coach of the Year in this deal. Hello and welcome into our next call. You're on the air.
How are my French compatriots doing today?
W. Lynn, welcome in.
I'm kind of with Bino on this. This is the best coach we've had in years, and I don't see where we could do any better going anywhere else. And all but maybe 4 or 5 teams every year have a stinker or two game. I mean, that's just kind of part. And in the SEC, there are no bye games. The Big Ten is loaded with bye games. They can talk about their 18 teams all they want. Those games they play, they know a few teams are going to kill a few other teams. You don't have that in the SEC. And, you know, you're going to have a few stinkers. Everybody had one. And Vanderbilt's caused some stinkers. Who thought that would have ever happened? So I am very happy with our stability and no shenanigans going on. And I'm telling you, we just were unlucky. We had to play a road game at Ohio State, who was mad. And if you'd have told Ohio State when you started the playoffs, we're going to give you $2 million per player for every game you win by 4 touchdowns or more, they'd have beat everybody by 4 touchdowns or more. What do you guys think on that?
Bino?
Well, I mean, the only team that seemed to play with them, Notre Dame seemed to play them pretty well, right? Other than that, they just kind of killed everyone, didn't they?
They did, and I think they could have killed Notre Dame a little bit more, really, if they'd have wanted to. But you know, that just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and you know, this goes back to the 60s and 70s. I mean, you know, you lose your bowl game, it just sticks with you, especially if it's, you know, Power Four. Now we have the playoffs. It unfortunately for our fans, it's just going to stick with us for a while, and we just got to go beat Syracuse. But Bino, I don't know if you've heard, I demanded to see Danny Dollar's list, this season ticket waiting list. He has 15,000 people. Is it true that Grant Firking had probably 1,000 fake people on this list, Tony?
Well, he might have 1,000 victims on the list, which isn't worth which isn't worth laughing about. But that's too much for me, W. Lynn. That whole Grant Firk, that whole thing is just. You know, we did that show yesterday. I don't think a lot of people realize what we were talking about, but they do now. I mean, that is one weird story, W. Lynn. One weird story.
Golly, man.
I just can't believe somebody can get away with something that long today, a con like that.
Yes,
and it's just amazing. But I want the students to start protesting in August. We want more and we want better tickets for sporting events. Or I want to see the list. Have signs that say "See the list," Tony.
Thank you, W. Lynn. Yeah, I have trouble believing that they have a waiting list of 15,000 season tickets when, in fact, there's just not a lot of buzz for this upcoming season. Now, you might have a 15,000 waiting list if you have a team that's contending for a national championship and your stadium's sold out. But I have a hard time believing. In fact, I don't believe it. But let's go back to the phones. Danny White's a marketer, after all. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Tom? What's up, Bino?
Hey,
what's
welcome
going
in.
on, Tony?
Hey, man, how y'all doing?
Good, T.
We're good.
Hey, listen, man, I got two major things that have happened to our coach. And I might open up a little bit of a can of worms here. I'm going to start with the most recent. The Arizona State and Boise State getting the buys and getting in the top 4, and us having to go on the road to Ohio State. If they did it last year like they're going to do it this year, we would have been 7th, exactly like we're ranked, and we get SMU at Neyland Stadium when we all know what would have happened to SMU in Neyland Stadium in the first ever playoff game at night. So now we have a whole different outlook on everything because we would have smashed them, and I have no doubts. Now, the can of worms part that I'm going to open up, and people can call me a conspiracy theorist if they want, but I've put my homework in on this, and I'm convinced that that Connor Stallion scouted us and communicated with South Carolina. They had scored one touchdown in 2 weeks, against mediocre teams. They had wristbands on that night, and they scored 9 straight touchdowns, man. 9 straight touchdowns. And the next week, they go beat Clemson. So they smashed 2 playoff teams in 2 weeks, and then in their next 9 games, they go 2-7 with the same quarterback and the same coach. Now, that 22 team was special. If that doesn't happen, we get TCU's spot and get Georgia on a neutral field and probably win a Heisman Trophy. So I'm half full on the guy. I'm with Bino on this, man. How often are we consistently beating Florida and Alabama at the same time since I've been alive? That would be never. I mean, it's one or the two. We had a streak against Bama in the 90s, and we couldn't beat Florida. I mean, and then Alabama starts smashing us in the 2000s when Saban gets there, and we struggle with Florida too. So he's got 4 victories against those 2 teams that we haven't consistently beaten them both. I'm 46, man, and I don't guess that's ever happened. What do y'all think about that?
Well, that SMU team that came to Penn State would have gotten the dog walked on them by Tennessee. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Right, Bino?
Yeah.
Very little doubt about that.
I think Tennessee wins that game. Yes, at home.
Absolutely. And if y'all don't want to speak on that other thing, I understand, but I believe it, and nobody can convince me.
Oh, the Connor Stallions thing? Hey, I don't put it past him. I don't put it past any of these teams trying to do anything to get an edge on another. I don't put that past anybody.
Yeah, and what a shame. I mean, those are 2, unfortunate things that happened to the guy. And if those 2 things go the other way, I mean, how is this conversation different?
You're
know
exactly
what I mean?
right, man.
Yeah, I love you guys, man, and I have for a long time. And God bless y'all and have a wonderful weekend. Okay?
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate
Hey, Bino,
you.
it's a great place for us to shut it off. Much love to you, my man. I appreciate you. And any final thoughts here on the way out?
No, Tony, that's a lot of fun. I think it's a really good conversation, really thought-provoking. Appreciate the article that Adam Sparks put out there that kind of shoved us in that direction. But Tony, have a fun gig tonight and have a great weekend.
Love you, brother. Thanks. Unbelievable. To the living listener, I wish we could stay and do it, but I want to thank my friends at TLD Logistics. We will get into this on Monday, and we will break it down scientifically. And we love you and we appreciate you. G to the B to the O. Appreciate you. Thanks. And here's today's edition, Run Back, for those that missed the fun. Here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Here's a tip, Basilio. Start your show on time. All right? I'll take that, too. I will take that one. On a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to my man Brian Hartman, who's on assignment today. Personal day for Bri. Bino Jeff Henderson in the house today. Bino Jeff, welcome in.
Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Great day to be alive. Hey, brother, I'm fired up today because you and I got a lot to talk about today. And Bino wrote a little short blurb today over at tclub.team, which will inform our discussion a little later on in the hour. Today on the program, coming up for you, hour number 1, our weekly visit with Mike Huguenin as the world turns, with regards to some of the goings-on around the SEC this week, the early fallout from the House settlement, which is 1 week old, and